Let me go ahead and answer that for you. It's amazing. It's an amazing game with a great community. Just a few bad eggs every now and again, but most are super nice and helpful. If you are new and free to play, I would suggest going to World 301. You might meet some crazy people, and try not to fall for any scams because they will try. If you're going for membership, I would suggest a few things. Either play free to play for a while and then upgrade once you want more. Don't try and pay for membership from free to play. Don't try to make the money on free to play to get a bond. I mean, you can, but just pay for a month or 14 days and then try to make the gold then. If you're like me, I just pay the monthly sub right now since I'm trying to max my account. I want all the gold that I can get and I want to keep it. You're gonna want to know what kind of grind you're getting into. You can do so much in old school RuneScape. I would say just pick a skill you think would be interesting and go for it. And when you get bored of that skill or hit the level you want to get, then you can just pick another skill and do that. Then once you get to a place where you've tried all the skills and understand a lot more about the game, then you can either pick some creatures to train on or learn some more about the skills that you've been learning about. Once you learn a little bit more about the game, I would go ahead and make a list of things you want to try out, and then once you get membership, you can do these quests or diaries or get the skills to do those things. You may want to get an idea on a few money makers you can do, and then once you get membership, do those to afford some of the better stuff to make training a lot quicker and easier. Try out some mini games, some early game bossing, new armor and weapons. Take a second to appreciate RuneScape 3 because I would say that the old school RuneScape UI is much easier to navigate than the RuneScape 3 UI. Old school RuneScape is simple, no microtransactions, no in-game store, and you only have a few things you can move around. With RuneScape 3, it is just cluttered with many things and purchases and all that stuff. RuneLite is a must-have if you're playing on PC. It fixes a lot of problems you might have with the UI and just all around makes the game a lot easier to navigate and get information. There are so many videos on what plugins to download. You can just search best RuneLite plugins and you'll come up with many results. Old school RuneScape is very grindy, but the fact that it's on mobile makes things like fletching or fishing or woodcutting viable to do almost anywhere you have some free time. The old school RuneScape app will let you one-click log in and then you can just start training the skill. They're even making a better UI and the beta for that should be coming out around the 21st of September, but who knows because they've already delayed it once. Old school RuneScape is a very unique MMO and not really comparable to other games. If you enjoy idle games, you probably enjoy a lot of old school RuneScape because there are some very low effort training methods for most skills that allow you to do chores, work, or watch shows, or literally just play other games. You can just have RuneScape or old school RuneScape up on the other monitor. There are a lot of enjoyable ways to train and progress for high experience rates as well if you want to go full force and focus and be attentive and play the game. But there are also the low effort training methods. Basically everything has a high and low effort training method depending on what you want to do and what you're doing at the time. It's yours to choose. The bosses that have mechanics as you get higher into the game will be very hard to learn, but once you learn a boss in old school RuneScape, it's like riding a bike. You just always know how to do it, and you may only be able to kill it once per trip at first. But soon you're going to be killing it like 5 or 10 times per trip because you just are very proficient at it. It's cool watching yourself go from not being able to kill a boss to completely just like rocking it a day or two later. When number goes up, brain feels good, and that's the basics of old school RuneScape. It's a myth that you need a lot of time to play the game. There's no forced progression in the game because the design philosophy for old school RuneScape is for all content to remain evergreen. If you can't play for a while and decide to come back, everything will be just as you left it. They add new content, but never anything that invasive to old content that makes it irrelevant. I just believe that old school RuneScape is perfect for everyone. If someone who plays 12 hours a day and does the hardest content in the game, and you're grinding for all the pets and collection logs, Or if you just are a chill player and you play 1 to 3 hours every other day, you're always progressing and making your account better, and nothing is going to take that XP or the quest you did or the diaries away. If you left for like half a year and had some of the best armor in the game, whenever you come back, it will still be that way. Sometimes we do have a little change, but nothing like the Barrow's armor is useless now. Like that's just not going to happen. No, it's just like less powerful compared to maybe the gear that just came out, but only by a little. Right now, I would say is one of the best times to start playing old school RuneScape, as we are in a really good spot with most things. As far as the content being brought out and into the game and the devs giving us all kinds of stuff to do and look forward to, the community is as big as ever and still growing, which is insane for how old the game is. Some people even just watch videos on YouTube about old school RuneScape because they find the game interesting and the creators interesting, and they don't even play, or maybe they are just taking a break and want to see what's going on in the game. But either way, there's a big YouTube audience. The best way to think of RuneScape is that it's not your general MMO. The game is made to be played at your own pace. There's not the looming feeling that you have whenever playing other MMOs that you need to be max level ASAP to get the most out of the game. You'll be new, and at first it can be a little daunting, but the best way to experience this is to take it slow. Go mining and make your first set of armor, complete the first quest you find, kill some monsters and collect the drops, and then sell them. Simple things, and it'll let you learn the game. Quests are a different breed in this game. It's not like kill 10 wolves or pick 10 plants on repeat. They're full stories and take the player on like big adventures. It's made as a point-and-click adventure first, MMO second. That means mind-boggling items and puzzles and riddles that, without guides, some quests would legitimately take months to figure out. However, don't worry, the wiki is the most extensive wiki that exists on any game out there, with step-by-step guides for each quest. Also, there's a plugin on RuneLite called Quest Helper that will tell you basically exactly what to do by highlighting things and making big glowing arrows. You can't really compare this game to anything on the market. No content is ever dead. There's multiple types of accounts, regular, which has no restriction, but also multiple variations of Iron Man, which means no trading to other players and you have to be fully self-sufficient, and also Ultimate Iron Man, which means you can't use a bank and like other stuff. Very rewarding, but as a new player, best to play regular accounts, then maybe try Iron Man one day in the future. I don't think I will. Maybe way in the future, but not anytime soon. I definitely want to complete everything in the game first. As I said, my biggest advice is to play at your own pace, get lost in the world, and enjoy yourself. You may look back at those moments in years to come and fully appreciate the mystery and wonder. There are 23 skills in old school RuneScape, so you have so much to learn if you're a new player, so much content to dive into, and soon, since there will be selling and it passed the poll, we will have 24 skills. You will be leveling all of these skills to 99, which is the max level. Don't let that overwhelm you, because all you have to do is pick a skill and maybe watch a YouTube guide on it, or look up some training methods on it on the wiki, or YouTube video, wiki, to find out how you want to train the skill and progress that, either by doing something AFK or doing something less AFK, more XP, or fully focused, a lot of XP. Polls are something you're going to have to get used to if you play old school RuneScape. The devs will come up with many new things and ideas to put into the game, and we as a player base get to vote on those ideas and help them be refined to put into the game. Nowadays, I would say that most things that are suggested will pass in the polls, but there are a few different things that get a lot of feedback from the community and ultimately change for the better. A big part of the old school RuneScape is the quest. Unlike other quests in MMOs, old school RuneScape quest will take you on like big adventures, meeting new people, and developing a little like mini story in your travels. There's no really big adventure or big story. There's just a lot of mini stories. They also unlock some of the best unlocks in the game. The same goes for the achievement diaries. These will have 4 tiers: easy, medium, hard, and elite. And once you complete a tier for one of the specific places in Old School RuneScape, you will get a reward. Maybe it's getting more points in one of the minigames or unlocking a new armor or maybe a teleport. We also have things called clue scrolls, which will range from beginner to elite and are dropped from killing monsters in Old School RuneScape. These are a little like puzzles, sometimes a big puzzle, but it's like a puzzle scavenger hunt kind of thing. You have to go meet people or dig up something or fight someone. You have to figure it out, and then once you've done so many steps, you get a casket, and then once you get a casket, you can open it, and it will have anything from like the most useless item in the game all the way to the most expensive items, which are third age pickaxe, armor, weapons. We have a leaderboard for just about everything in Old School, from skills, bosses, to minigames, and I wouldn't expect you to get top page. I wouldn't expect really anyone to get top page because we have a lot of sweats and people that just grind this stuff out for weeks, months, and years to be at the top, but it's fun to see where you stand amongst the other players whenever you're doing a boss or something. Collecting is another big part of Old School RuneScape. For some people, you can collect the best armor and go for the collection logs for bosses, or you can just straight up collect obscure items in the game. If you're a collector, there will be something for you, and even if you're not a collector, you'll probably just end up collecting things in your bank because it just happens. There's so many different ways to play the game. What I like to do, and many others, is more of a completionist type of gameplay where you would basically make goals and work your way up to completing all of those goals and everything in the game. There is long-term goals where I would say you need to make smaller goals in order to reach the long-term goals. We have quests, diaries, almost 24 skills to get to 99, learning to make gold, bossing, learning the hardest things in Old School RuneScape like the Inferno, and learning the new bosses that come out and the new content that comes out. Just so much to do and so much to work towards. Also, something I'm not very involved in but still like is PvP. Unlike other MMOs, PvP in Old School RuneScape is one of a kind. We have a place called the Wilderness where you can go and fight other players, but if you die, you lose what you have on you. Not in your bank, but just what's on your person at that time. And if you win, you get all the stuff on the other person. Also, a lot of minigames involving PvP where you don't lose all of your items. The people who like to PvP are called PKers, or people killers, or person killers. Those acronyms go way back to whenever RuneScape was released and have stayed the same since, just pretty much stayed the same. We have raids that are really cool. We have 3 in the game right now, with Tombs of a Mascot being the easiest to get into. You can start off on beginner at the raid and work your way up to the hardest versions of that raid for a better chance of receiving good loot. What's also really cool is that you can do these by yourself or with a friend or a clanmate or a lot of other people in mass raids with a lot of people. I would say that the hardest but most fun part about Old School RuneScape is all the things that you can do and learn about. It's a little overwhelming whenever you first start, but if you just take everything slow and at your own pace, you will have a blast. And when you're at work and all you can think about is getting home so you can try gear switches at Zora, or, whenever you're at work and you think about woodcutting or fishing or playing RuneScape at all, it's a good sign that it's a good game. It's evergreen, so you can play it for years to come without fear of losing all of the progression that you've made, like in, let's say, World of Warcraft. But you won't lose progression in the story or your quests or your diaries or your armor, and it's all going to be relevant whenever you come back. Once you get to a place where you're making good gold in the game and you don't really need to spend it on anything, you don't want to actually pay for membership. If you don't want to pay for membership, you could just use the gold on your account to pay for a bond, and that will give you membership for, I think, 14 days. I think it's 10 million GP right now, which is actually kind of a lot. It's the highest it's ever been. Like, if you're planning to take a few months off and you can actually play for like a weekend on your few months off, then maybe you just spend the gold to buy membership. Then, whatever you feel like. We always have weekly updates on Wednesday, or for me, I get the update on Wednesday. For other people, it could be different. So you could almost count on something every week for like maybe tweaks to raids or new skills, new places to just change like little respawn timers or quality of life changes. There's always updates and always new changes going on. My name is Pro. I hope this influenced at least a few people to start playing old school RuneScape or continue to play or get back into it. Thank you for watching.